Good afternoon, oi. Oh, hi. That's wrong way around. You should say hi or hello and good afternoon. Here in the tropical Queensland, central Queensland. Boy, hasn't it been hot lately? How crazy is that? Crazy is that? It's been a while since I've done a live video. I've been sitting in the air conditioning of the house the last few days to overcome this extreme heat wave that we're getting at the moment here in central Queensland. And this afternoon, I could probably say, by the looks of it, it's probably the calm before the storm. So we've got ideal conditions. It's not boiling hot out here, so I figured, well, let's do a live feed. So we haven't done a live feed for quite a while. In fact, I haven't put a video out for about a week. It's just, frankly, it's just been too hot to do anything, any activity outside. It's just crazy. So just bear with me. I'm just going to bring the chats up here. Now I'm using my little GoPro here. So you'll be happy to know that I've got it connected to my GoPro Volta. And you know what that means? 4 hours. I can go for 4 hours before the battery's flat and then shuts me down. But I have no planning on going that long. I don't plan to be online that long. Even though it is a little bit cooler here this afternoon, the calm before the storm, so to speak. I can see it building up. It's getting black. There's a little bit of a breeze and the sun is not out. So it's kind of half bearable, but it's still very hot and humid, as you can tell. I'm already starting to sweat and I've only been out here for 5 minutes. It's crazy. Not my favourite time of the year. So just bear with me and I'm just going to bring up the chats here. Just look for me live feed. So what I'm doing, by the way, I'm connected to my Starlink. This is a good test for the start. So there is some thick clouds around and there's possibly rain coming soon. So just bear with me. I would imagine there's going to be some few dropouts that'll last for half a second or so. You may not notice it, but just in case it does, don't worry, it'll come back pretty quick. I don't have NBN at home anymore. As you're aware, I've disconnected the NBN. It was just too unstable. It's really bad, particularly this time of the year with all this rain that we've been getting of late. And the copper lines, the old copper lines, just cannot handle it. And the nearest fibre access to where I am is over 1 kilometre away. So that means they've got to use the old copper lines that are some 40-50 years old, that's in dire needs of repairs. So it was just a nightmare. So now I've gone with Starlink. So I've got rid of the NBN, so I'm on the home version of Starlink, and it is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So let me just bring up the chats here so I don't miss out any messages here. So I'm just using my phone to bring up the chat and hopefully it'll show. Okay, come on. My phone's a little bit slow, don't know why, that's bizarre. Just taking its time, go to live and hopefully, there we go. Oh, okay. All right. So I don't know if we're live here, guys. I'm not seeing any live footage coming up here. So normally, at least a couple of times I've gone live with this setup here, and I've been able to bring up the video through my YouTube channel here, and I can then access the comments through there, the chat, which is a shame because part of the beauty of going That's just bizarre, isn't it? Alright, so any of my mates out there who's got access to my We Are Live, I was just going to ask, okay, Troy messaged me that we are live. Alright, oh, that's good. I was thinking maybe we are not live, because I'm not getting the comments come up, which is strange, because the last 2 times I've used this, I've been able to bring up the live feed on my YouTube channel, but it's not coming up. So I'm a bit surprised. Why did it work those first 2 times or 3 times? So here we are. Actually, it's just popped up now. All right, so let me just turn the there we are. Sweet. I've got the comments now. Sweet. All right. Anthony, how you going? G'day, Michael. James, how you going? Troy, how are you? Arvo, Phil, I'm at Damn Crazy. Awesome. What's it like at Damn Crazy? And not too hot for you? Isn't it a beautiful spot? Nice campground, that. You know, I never heard of the place. I live so close to it. Well, when I say close, it's probably about 45-minute drive away. That's still pretty close for where I live to anywhere decent camping anyway. But I never heard about the place until about 1.5 years ago, and it was Annie from Saw Adventures, formerly FJ Camping and Touring. That's interesting. My phone, the connection was lost about half a second. There you go. There we are. It's just coming up. So as you're aware, guys, try not to say that word. So as you're aware, just bear with it. That's not too bad. That's only the first interruption. You will get some interruption. Is that the word? With Starlink when you're live. Okay, unfortunately, it is satellite service. I think what happens is as the satellites go over, some change that can be half a second delay in that, and when you're looking half a second delay in live feeding, that quite often will come up in live feeds. Now if you're on the internet, you're browsing on the internet, you're never going to notice it. If you're watching Netflix live or YouTube live, normally kind of downloads in advance as you're watching it, so you never notice it. But when you go live, you are going to get these fraction of a second where it'll cut out. It's not too bad. It's going to be a little bit worse than normal today because of the thick cloud cover, although I don't know if the cloud cover makes any effect. So when that happens, you know why that's happening, so don't worry about it. I will be back on pretty quick. G'day, big fella. Yeah, it's me. Not going well so far, very patchy. Is it? It looks pretty good. What I'm watching on my phone is playing really good. Good resolution, very clear. So far I've only seen it cut out once for less than half a second. So if it's very patchy for you, maybe in your end, you might have very weak signal where you are. But let me know how everything's going with everyone out. All good, loud and clear in Melbourne. Awesome, yeah. No, I'm actually filming. I've got the camera connected to Wi-Fi in my garage. Normally, there's no chance that I can connect to my network from the garage. But the Starlink has got a far superior connection to it because I've updated the network on it. I've got a mesh system. That's this. So I've got a couple of mesh systems, one in the middle of the house and one on the end of the house where my main, where everything plugs in and so on. So it's picking up the house as well. Good my GoPro to me Wi-Fi. Now I reckon if I tried my really good camera with the Shogun Connect feature where I can go live, I think I should be able to get a real good connection with that. So one day I'll give that a go. but to be honest, this here is so quick. I grab this, put it on, and the fact that I can actually have live comments. Hang on, turn this volume down because I can hear a delay. There's a bit of a delay here. The fact that I can easily get the live comments, where with the other system I was using, it was very, very difficult to bring the live comments. So, yep, awesome. G'day Phil, clear in South Australia. Awesome. G'day Phil, be here in the Snowy Mountains. Now, is it true now? I don't know if this is fair dinkum. You're in the Snowy Mountains. I saw a photo today of snow, really thick snow, looked like it's 1/2 metre thick of snow in the Snowy Mountains. Is that just a prank I was sent on the news or something? How is that possible in the middle of summer? Particularly up here where we're born so hot. That's crazy. Here in the Snowy Mountains. Dean Roche, how you going, Dean? Ed's 4-driving camping. Hi, Ed. That's good, looking good. That's good. I don't know if you're talking about me or the footage. I have a feeling you're talking about the footage coming good and clear. And Jackson, how you going from North Queensland? It's pretty hot here. I can imagine what it must be like up there. So I was going to talk a little bit about my 12-volt system, my vehicle. Now, nothing really to add, nothing new as such since the last times I've done series of videos on here, except for I do have the Mercury PowerPaul Australia battery. So I wanted to talk a bit about that now that I've used it for a while, because my last videos I filmed on that, I think it wasn't in the vehicle for very long. I only did about one trip in it the last time, a short trip in it. But now I've been getting out and about, doing a fair bit of camping. And talking about camping, I'll tell you what, Terry, if you're watching this, Stephen, Annie, you're watching this, Rob, you're watching this, and Rob too as well, you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. Haven't we fluked the cool weather of late? Kind of apart from the last trip, it did get very hot then, but there was 3 trips prior to that where forecast, particularly a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks ago, we went damn crazy. We were a bit worried how hot it was going to get, because leading up to our trip was forecast of 35 degrees Celsius, weathers plus. And I tell you what, when you're way out that way, inland, and you're away from the coast, it can get very, very hot out there. Quite often 4 or 5 degrees hotter than where I am here. And it's hot here today, believe me. I can tell you how hot it is. Nowhere near as what it was yesterday. Yesterday by now I would have been coated in sweat, although I'm slowly getting that way. As you can see, it's, whew, tell you what, I'm glad when the cooler weather comes back. This is probably, I did go camping last week, so it'll be going to be it will be my last camping trip, apart from maybe I'm thinking about shooting off over to Kincuna for a night or two occasionally, to do a bit of fishing, try to chase some whiting. I can pick up some whiting there. That'll give me a chance to do some more filming and etc. So out there, even maybe some filming of me fishing, although I'll probably be on my own, I don't know. Terry, I mentioned it to Terry, and he's got a little camper trailer he's working on, so he might be interested to join me. And I got my old mate that came with me when I went to Fraser Island. I think he's probably might be keen as well, so there might be a couple of us. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a trip over there, but that's about it. I won't camp I don't think I'm going to camp anywhere else, because over there it's relatively cool. You're right on the ocean. If you pick a week through the middle of the week, not on weekends, because it gets pretty busy on the weekends. Lots of 4 drives, lots of idiots going up and down the beach, leaving rubbish around everywhere. It's unfortunate. Haven't been going camping there much at all. Not for probably the last couple of years. I don't think I've camped there for 2 years. It's hard to believe. It was one of my favourite camping spots, but it got very difficult going there all the time. and seeing how much rubbish was left behind there all the time. And the other fact is too, not just the rubbish, guys, the other fact is these people, I don't know why they do it, but they drink out of the glass bottles, their beer, and they just throw it on the ground, and there's just broken glass beer bottles everywhere. So you cannot walk around in bare feet. The last few times I went there, that's what it was like. I don't know what it's like in the last 2 years, so who knows. But I'm planning, I want to go back there, and because it's been a while since I've done any beach camping, right in amongst the sand, right on the beach, and I'm keen to get out there and do a little bit of fishing. So let me see. Hey, slacking since 1969. How you going? Slacking since 1969. As you gather, he's not from Australia because he's commented here. Here he is, it's minus 24 degrees Celsius. Minus 24 and plus the wind chill, so it's night time. So he's from Canada. So he's got the direct opposite of what we have. Isn't that amazing? How one spot on this earth, it's minus 24 degrees Celsius. I cannot fathom what that must feel like. That's colder than your freezer. I just cannot. It's just, imagine living somewhere where it's colder than your freezer. Do you have a freezer? I can't believe it. It's just incredible. Colder than a freezer. You'd have to use a heater in your fridge. Instead of having the condenser, you'd have an heater. I don't know how it works. That just blows me away, how you manage your milk in your fridge. How do you stop that from freezing? I'm just curious. North America getting slammed right now. What's that with snow? You could probably hear it starting to rain a bit. We've got a bit of a shower just coming in now. Can't wait to get mine. I ordered 3. What I ordered 3 of? Sucking hot here at the moment. Hey, Fisherman Fecky! Woohoo! I bet you it's hot where you are. How you going? Long time no see. So, it's awesome. So I went away camping last weekend to catch up with a few mates nearby, and I actually managed to catch up with Buck. So it's awesome. So hopefully we should see Buck. I don't know if he's on watching here. Not sure what he's doing. He's probably out and about, glanting around the countryside, no doubt, checking out all the awesome sights and filming them for us so we can watch, so we can join him on his videos. So I did manage to catch up. Well, they were nearby, they were passing through, so I caught up with Buck, Ross and Little Ruffer, and I got a photo of them holding Little Ruffer. So Ruffer knows me now. It's been a while since I walked up. He came right up to me and started sniffing me, and I was actually able to pick him up and pat him. He accepted that. So cool little dog, eh? He's so cute. And yeah, it was awesome to catch up with both all 3 of you. If you're watching, awesome to catch up, and hope you're enjoying your trip. And I'll tell you what, I bet you probably can't wait to get down New South Wales to some of that cooler weather. Although I don't know if it's true, from what I'm seeing on the news, it's been snowing down there. Is it true? Is it snowing around the Alps and Jindabyne or whatever and that? I saw on the news this morning on my phone that there's like a 1/2 metre of snow or something. That's crazy. Surely that can't be true. Buck's on Instagram now. Not only is Buck on Instagram, he's back on Facebook. Probably a lot of you are not aware of it now. But yes, as of about a week ago, Bucks is back on tongue twister. Buck is back on Facebook. That's correct, he is. I'm not fibbing. It's fair dinkum. Buck is on Facebook. How awesome is that? So get your phones out and search for Mr. Buckaroony, one word, and you'll see Buck there. So get back on there and join. And he's been keeping almost on a daily basis since last week. He's been putting posts on there. So yeah, so you'll keep up to where Buck, roughly where he is, if you follow there. So it's awesome for him to be back on there. And I have heard he was back on the Instagram there. I haven't, because I can't wear a shirt, that little... Okay, a few of you are talking to each other. Baseboards, electric, that some people have gas furnace, forced air. Baseboard, it's electric, but some people have gas furnace. It's natural gas, not petrol. I'm not surprised. That's to stop your products from, well, I was going to say from freezing, but I mean, -18 that we have our freezers set at, everything freezes, so I can't imagine what must happen to your products when they freeze -24. So sometimes I've read that you even get as sometimes even -30, -35. I've heard at times the temps down there. So yeah, crazy. It's just amazing. I love that he's back on the interweb. Yeah, it is great to have back on the Facebook. It's awesome. So yeah, so if you're not aware, make sure you get back on there. Oh, you guys talking about singlet? Yes, because some singlet with the help of Jacqueline. Is that how you say your name, Jacqueline? From way up in way up North Queensland way. I don't know if you want people to know where you lived. I almost just about slipped it out my tongue. But I'm sure a lot of my followers here do know Jacqueline well and know where she lives, up in Buck territory. So my PowerPool Australia 330 amp hour lithium battery. Wow. Now that I've used it a fair bit, it is awesome. What I love about it, it's the fact that it's kind of set and forget. You know me, how I leave my fridge on 24 hours a day. I never turn the fridge off. So I've got my upright fridge here. Always keep it stored with gear. Even when I'm at home and I'm not camping, it's always... It's got the freezer that's usually set. What's the freezer set on now? It's 22. And the fridge is around about 4 degrees or so. In fact, I had it even set colder than that. I actually had to turn it down the temp a bit because it was starting to get too cold in there. These things, they're known as a tropical fridge, and they absolutely love hot weather, tropical weather. They just seem to thrive on the tropical weather, which is interesting because in winter they tend to not run as well, I've found, as they do when it's hot. But I've found ways to overcome this. So I'm going to do a video on it. Now that I've owned this fridge for a while, I will do another review video on this, same as I did last week on my ice maker. It's still sitting here producing ice. That thing is amazing. It's been about 14 months or so since I purchased that, and I've never had a problem with it. It's just always worked. I even use it when I'm driving. As I'm driving along, it handles all the bumps and everything. It just doesn't bother it. So it's quite amazing. I never have water leaking out of it, never have a problem, and it produces quite a lot of ice too. And I tell you what, in this kind of weather, there's nothing like an icy cold soft drink or water in this type of weather. It really cools the core of your body down. So I quite often have it. I can't believe we've already been on for 25 minutes. How time flies. I quite often have this left on most of the time. It's when I drive about, I go around, I pull up at a park or somewhere, I go to my sister's, you know, I just grab a nice icy cold drink, and it's awesome. So it's wonderful. And you know, I mean, you can get icy cold drinks out of here, but once you add the ice cubes, oh, it just cools you down so much. Just excuse me, I'm going to have a bit of a drink. Ah, Troy, yep, asked about Starlink. Hang on, now that your Starlink mounted on the roof, Phil, has it made a big difference on the roof? Not really, no. Hasn't made any difference for me. I've got a good clear, I've got no obstruction pointing to the south. Now if my Starlink was pointing to the north, I've got a few trees there that would definitely obstruct it. Luckily for me, that Starlink points to the south, so I've got no trees. So that was including when I had it on its stand, sitting on the ground. I was still getting just as good a signal as it is where it's installed now. So right now, I've had it installed on my roof for quite a while now, but yesterday I purchased a while back I purchased the masonry, the Starlink masonry kit, wall kit, that you can mount the Starlink through the masonry on the house. And I did that a couple of days ago. So I've got it wired up all nice, perfectly. So it's a permanent install of wire, but when I ordered my Starlink and I placed the order for the network adapter, I also placed the order for the pivoting mount, and an extra cable as well. So that extra power lead cable, I just basically keep that in the 4 drive, so when I want to go camping and take Starlink with me, then I just take that extra cable. So the cable I've got under at the house permanently stays there all the time. And in regards to the Starlink, I just use a step ladder, climb up about 3 steps, push a button, and it just slides off the top. Then take that with me. And then I've got the legs of portability, so I take that with me in the 4 drive. Eventually, to save space, so I don't have to carry the legs with me, I want to somehow get a mount put on my rooftop tent, so that when I arrive at camp, I can just mount it on my rooftop tent. But now, this is going to be on the 12-volt system, but whatever you're interested in. And Mark, hello, how you going? Mark's saying hello to everybody. It's Slacking says it's too cold for a fireplace. It'll be 20, 30. So, well, I reckon Rob too, a fire going, very good fire starter. Is he not watching here? That's the Wanderer Oz. Very good at starting fires. He loves his fires. I caught up with the Wanderer because he's had a couple of weeks off. So I caught up with him last week and we went camping together. And we actually stayed at a caravan park. He wasn't sure about it. So it's the first time, I'm amazed, it's the first time he's ever stayed at a caravan park. And it's the first time he's ever camped, because at this caravan park we could not have a fire. It's the first time he's ever camped without having a fire. He's never done it before. And he quite enjoyed the experience. He quite liked the experience of camping in a caravan park. He didn't mind it at all at the end. He was a bit worried. He didn't think he'd enjoy it much, but he was quite pleasantly surprised. So, but it's true, there are some awesome caravan parks around the place. If only they didn't charge as much as what they do. But you do, I suppose, one good thing I must say with caravan parks, you do actually meet some wonderful people there, especially if they have their happy hours and so on like that. So everyone's saying hello to Mark. Oh yeah, Jacqueline Dixon, you should have a box today now. I'd rather to you. You're far way up north from where he is, so I'd imagine postage would take a little while to get to you. Have you modified your suspension? I'm suspecting you're talking about my 4 drive. It has been modified. It was modified before I purchased it, and I have actually modified it since I purchased it. You'd be surprised that my Pajero's got a GVM upgrade. It came with a GVM upgrade when I bought it. So this Pajero can tow 3-ton van legally with 250 kgs tow ball weight. Now I didn't know that when I purchased it, because I got it 17. I didn't know that. So I just drove it. I went by train to Brizzy. I had my brother-in-law to check it out, and he said it's good. So I jumped on the train, went to Brizzy. I bought it in a car yard in Brizzy, and I went to it and I had a look and took it for a drive, and it drove beautiful. So I bought it. It was cheap, especially for being in a car yard, and it's been a great vehicle. I've had it for like 4.5 years now. I've never had any major breakdowns. It's 2005, so I've had to put, so far I've replaced the water pumps twice, and I've put a new what do you call, radiator in it. It didn't need to be replaced, but when I had the water pump replaced recently, the guy said this radiator hasn't got a lot of life left in it. You'll be driving along the highway one day and it'll just bust on you. And he showed me it was quite starting to get brittle. So I put the new radiator in it, and that's all I've ever had to spend any money on it. So that's the only, I have changed the brake pads, but that's normal. I'm soon up to change the tyres, because it needs new tyres on it all round very soon. But suspension wise, it's got Bilsteins with the Coney gas, not Coney, sorry, it's got the Bilstein springs, or is it Bilstein gas shock absorbers, and I can't remember. Man, God, I can't remember what's on there now. And Bilstein springs or something. I don't know. It's got the real good gas shockies. Gas shockies. Reserves, they are the best. What's in here is probably the second best. But I've since have replaced the rear springs for some heavier duty ones. Not long after I got the vehicle in front. In fact, probably only about 3 or 4, maybe 5 months after I got it. And I started putting my gear in it. I noticed it's starting to sit low at the back. So luckily, my sister lives in Gold Coast and we regularly go there and visit her. And I went to the King's factory in Gold Coast, which is near Patreon, whatever they are, the Patreon trailers, camper trailers, where they make them, just north of Gold Coast there, not too far from there. And right next door to them is the factory that makes the springs. So I paid them a visit, and they actually custom made some springs to set this vehicle perfectly. So she drives really well, and yeah, I'm really happy with it. So yeah, it's got the 2-inch lift obviously. As I mentioned, it's got the GVM upgrade, and which is very lucky, especially to have a Pajero with a GVM upgrade. It's not something easy, particularly to gain access to here in Queensland, because for some reason the Queensland government will not allow GVM upgrades on Pajeros. And yet in New South Wales, I don't know about any other states, but in New South Wales you can get a GVM upgrade for a Pajero, and it's quite a simple, easy task to get down there, but your vehicle has to be registered and you got to live in New South Wales. But here in Queensland, for some strange reason, you cannot get GVM upgrades here. How did I mount the fridge? I built a box for it. Let me show you. Okay, so that's the fridge. Oh, hang on, sorry. Wait a minute, just let me change the mic. I can't hold on. Oh, the camera like this. You should be able to see if how's that work. So I got the Mac 10, I think it's the number. It's the latest on the Dometic upright fridge range. When I say latest, it has been out for a little while, and it's mounted inside this box that I've made up. And with these Dometics fridges, if you see these, see those little points there? Okay, there's two on either side. You can remove those plugs, and then through there you can just drill right through into the metal, and this thing's not going to move. She's solid, guys. There's no way it's going to move. This box is bolted down into the chassis. I put a false floor in and it's bolted down to the chassis, and the box is bolted onto that with real high tensile bolts, same as all of this. My forward drive drawer that I made is bolted down into some of the chassis points where the chairs used to bolt into. Some mounting points for the rear third wheel seat well where the chairs bolted into. I utilised those bolts and bolted those through. You can see the PowerPool Australia battery. It's awesome battery. Actually, when I was talking, so that's how that fridge is mounted in there, by the way. But let me see what else is here. Mark is looking forward to the tour tuning up next week. Yeah, I know, Rob. This past week has got everything away, so you should all receive your products this week, depending how far away you are. You know what Australia Post is like. Honestly, I can get stuff. I kid you not, I can get stuff from America quicker sometimes than I can from Brisbane. And Brisbane's only 360 k's away by car. So it's amazing. I had 2 days later, when I ordered the Starlink, I had to wait about 3 weeks because there was no stock before it arrived. And then it was posted on a Thursday from Sydney, and the other gear accessories was posted from California on the Saturday. I had everything turned up on the same day. I think it was on a Wednesday or Thursday, a week later. Took a week to get Starlink from Sydney to here, to about 4 days I got stuff from America to here. So yeah, that gives you an idea of what sometimes it can take 3 days just to get stuff from Brisbane. Because of that silly, I hate that new processing plant, whatever they got built just outside of Brisbane, that's supposed to speed things up. Every time I order something, I pray and hope it doesn't go through that distributor thing, because every time it does, it sits there for like 2-3 days. I don't know why. Sits there for 2 or 3 days before they put it on a truck or plane to send to where I'm living. It's just bizarre. It's crazy. Hi Jacqueline, I think we're going to be copping a thunderstorm tonight. Yeah, we might get one tonight. I don't know. I did get one. We did get a lot of rain. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but it's very patchy. In fact, it's funny. If you go to the BOM, Bureau of Meteorology statistics, they say a couple of days ago we only had about 8 mils. But fair dinkum, honestly, I reckon the BOM must have their gear that records the temps and the rainfall here undercover or in the fridge, because they are way out. They are nowhere near as accurate. My guess is probably would have had 4 or 5 inches here at least, whereas where's the radar is at the airport about 4 k's away, it recorded 8 millimeters. So officially we only had 8 millimeters, but we had about 4 or 5 inches here. My whole yard had half a foot of water in it. The whole front road was covered in water. It was flooded. It was crazy. And that happened in 1 hour. It just pissed down in 1 hour. And that's the first and only time that I lost Starlink connection watching YouTube. That's the first time. It took rain that heavy before I noticed it affecting Starlink. How cool is that? I seen another channel, they damaged the Starlink cable quite easily. It cost almost $200 to replace. Yeah, it's about $165. That's posted to your door from America. How do you store yours, Phil? I don't know why they're breaking them. They're not easy to break. It's not true. They must be... The only way to break them is if you're treating them really hard. You know, you're throwing them out in the yard and driving the car over it, or going a backhoe over it or something, or whacking a chippo through it. Honestly, it's the only way you could break it. Or have you, you're walking along and you hooked your foot around it and wanked it out the connection or something like that. Honestly, guys, that's the only way you're going to break them. They are not weak. There is nothing wrong with the cables. The cables are very sturdy. There's no problems. I don't see any issues with the cables. So I don't know. Just be careful with it. Treat it nice. Don't do things. Don't go breaking on it. Obviously you're going to break it then. Don't do any of that, and you won't have any problems with the cable. Honestly, the cable's not weak. It's fine. It's designed to do its job, and it does its job. The only area where the cable does fail is it's not a problem for us as long as you turn this feature off. When you get the Starlink, you go into the app. It's got a mode where it heats up the satellite dish. So if you live in an area where it's very cold and it snows, like you do in Canada, slacking since 1968, is it? Is it 68? 69, slacking. I gave you 1 year, 1 year older. I gather that 69 might be when you're born. I don't know. I was born in 65. Some of you would be surprised at that. in 1965 I was born. So yeah, I mean there's no issues. It's starting to rain again here now, which is quite present. You could probably hear it. It's not very heavy at all. I'm under a tin roof and it's not too heavy whatsoever. I got the battery on charge at the moment, so she's up to 86%, got down to 56%. And actually that's what I wanted to talk about with the having a Powerpool Australia battery. How awesome are those batteries? You guys that's owned them or have bought them recently will have no doubt agree. It's me, amazing battery. The best thing I've done, and thanks to Paul to give me the opportunity to have one of these batteries. I don't know if you thank you very much. I was just chatting to him just before I went live and mentioned, oh, I think I'm going to go live shortly and talk about your 12 volt setup. But I'll do a separate video, edited video just on this battery, update on this battery soon, and talk about my experience with it now that I've used it a fair bit out and about camping. And I tell you what, it is awesome because it's given me so much freedom. I don't have to think about this all the time. I don't have to think about the battery. This is the first time I've put this on charge. Actually, I've got it connected through AC, charging through AC at the moment. Today's the first day I've connected to AC, charging it through AC, I think in about 4 weeks. I kid you not, in about 4 weeks. Because it's such high capacity, it just goes for days without worrying about charging. So yeah, that's been brilliant. Just a bit of driving I've been doing around town, the DC. It's keeping it topped up enough. And then occasionally, if it needs help, I'll put the solar panel out. Got a little single 200 watt high voltage solar panel sitting out here just beside the shed. I'd plug into the Victron, and or occasionally I like to run my generators to make sure they get good clean fuel through the carburetor so they don't choke up and block. And so I just plug the generator in here, saving me using electricity at home. But today I would have used the generator, but I ran out of fuel. And I don't feel like jumping in the car and going to the servo and getting some fuel for it, so I plugged the AC charger in it. So as you know, the Multi Plus has got the built-in AC charger in it. Now when I had the other orange topped lithium battery, and it's only 100 amp hour capacity, I had to charge it every day. It's just a constant thing of making sure it's charged every day. I could go out for the day somewhere, and if I'm parked somewhere all day long, it's a struggle to make sure I've got enough charge in my battery, and I have to look for ways to charge it. So I've never ever had that issue with this battery. I can go 3-4, on average I charge it every 3 to 4 days, and to be honest I don't need to, because even after 3 or 4 days it's still more than half charged. It's still got 60% capacity in it. So instead of dropping it down, as you know, if you drop it down to 80% all the time, you're going to decrease the life of it, but then it's not by much really. To be honest, you're still going to go at least 2,000 plus charges out of it. So the thing will last me, I reckon, probably at least a good 10 years plus. I'd say in 10 years time, I have no doubt, fingers crossed, but I have no doubt, I reckon I'll still be using the same battery in 10 years time. So yeah, good long-term investment. So Magpie 1, hi Phil, how you going? Hi Phil, nice to have the live on the weekend. I can join. Yep, cool. No worries, Nigel. Hey Nigel, how'd you get your names in green? I wonder what that means. You got a blue star next to you. That's cool. I've never seen that before. I wonder what that means. Store your Starlink in the bag, they sell for it. Oh yeah, that's there must be some talking about how you store your Starlink when you're traveling. I just use the original box, the carton that came with. I just store it in that. But Starlink does make a bag for it. The only thing I don't like about the bag is its shape. I would have preferred it if it was just squared. I don't like storing stuff in my vehicle that's unusual, oblong, weird shape. Then it ends up taking up too much room. You can't put something else on top of it because of the way it's shaped. Absolutely perfect if you got a caravan and that. But in my case, if I did have a caravan, I still wouldn't get that box, that Starlink case. I'd just get a canvas bag and or actually even better, well, canvas bag would do the trick. But if you go to Bunnings or somewhere you can get these plastic boxes a similar size to the original packaging. So you can either just get the original packaging, just chuck it inside the box, or you can just take the insides out of your Starlink and put them inside the box and then just pack it in there, which is eventually what I plan to do. But for now, the box that came with it, I find it more than sturdy enough to store it in it, and then I can just stack stuff on top of it as well because it's a nice square box. So yeah, when are you going to get your own shirts? Don't know, I'm going to do it one day. I always said at one stage earlier on, I always made a goal that I won't get shirts until I've got 10,000 plus subscribers. I might hold off on that and get them sooner because